Hello, vinyl community. I wanted to come on to do a quick video. This is going to be like a thread and contest double feature um, for Steve's channel, the name of which is All the World's a Stage. And there's two different ones that I want to put on this one video. The first one is a while ago he came up with a challenge or a thread for people to name 5 bands that they currently don't own any. Um, they don't own any records or CDs or anything like that from those bands. Um, and Out of the 5, there are 4 of these that I will never own a copy of. But anyway, the first one that I'm going to mention is a band that I would have albums, but I have never had any up to this point, vinyl or CD, and that would be Iron Maiden. One band that I have enjoyed when I've heard them. I've heard an occasional track here and there. I know them well enough to know when you know one of their songs is playing. I know the sound of their music, their style, all that, but I've just never had anything by them. So maybe someday that will change. The other 4 bands that I will not have in my collection. So the second one I'm going to mention is Bon Jovi. No, can't take any Bon Jovi for the same reason I can't take any Loverboy, and that would be the third one. These two are bands that claim to be hard rock, even some say maybe heavy metal. To me, it's nothing but loud pop and doesn't do anything for me. Number 4 should probably be fairly obvious, and that's Helen Reddy. Would never own anything by her. And fifth and last of all is a band from the 80s. In my opinion, and this may be harsh for some people, we all have different opinions. I understand that, so I'm not here to offend anybody. But in my opinion, this band is the reason why music from the 80s has such a bad rap all the time. There's a lot of 80s bands out there that are really good. But I blame this band, and that would be the band I call the Thompson Twerps, as being one of the worst bands from the 80s, and the reason why music from the 80s gets such a bad rap, in my opinion. They're everything that's bad about that era. So if you don't agree with that, I'm sorry. Again, like I say, that's my opinion, and everybody's welcome to have their own opinion. I'm not here to piss anybody off or anything like that. So the second part of this video has to do with a contest that Steve is doing, and that is to rank all 8 of Led Zeppelin's studio albums. And I did this about maybe a year or so ago, and I think it's pretty close to what I did then. There are a few of them that I'm missing vinyl copies of, so I hope that's okay. But I do want to go over and do this one again, so I'll do that rather quickly here. First of all, number 8. I love all of Led Zeppelin's albums, so let me make that straight. And Coda is not included here because that's actually a compilation. So I'm going to begin with number 8, and should be no surprise, I think this is number 8 on most people's lists, In Through the Outdoor. This is one where they tried to maybe change up their sound a little bit. There's a lot more synthesizer, as John Paul Jones was responsible for a lot of the music on this particular album. Some great tracks on here. I know Brian from Embryonic Robot mentioned that he hated the song Hot Dog. I actually think it's one of the better tracks. It's a very fun song, and the guitar work on it is really good. It's not their style, and that's probably why I like it so much. It's not their usual style. It's kind of a nice surprise. The one track that I have a hard time with on this is the long one. Uh, I don't remember the name of it, Carousel Rama or something like that. So about 10 minutes. All it is 3 songs pasted together, and I don't know. They just seem half-hearted to me. As far as the rest of the album, though, it's not that bad. But a lot of bands would be happy to have an album that's great. That's number 8 on my list. Number 7. I hate to show this one because I know it's popular, but I've got it. It's got to be one of them, and unfortunately, it's Led Zeppelin 4. Again, I love the album. I play it a lot, but it's just not high up on my favorites as far as the Led Zeppelin albums go. Mainly because it's just been played so much, I think. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Great tracks on here. Love When the Levee Breaks, Misty Mountain Hop, 5 Sticks, all great songs. So that one of them has to be there, so it's that one. Next in line is one I don't have a copy of yet, but I am very familiar with it. I just haven't got a copy in my collection as of now, and that would be Presence. I love that album. I love the progressive elements to it, especially on Achilles' Last Stand. I think is a great track. There just isn't as much variety on it, so that's the only reason why it's a little lower than some of the others. So 8, 7, 6. This is number 5. The first debut Led Zeppelin album would have to be number 5. No. That's wrong. That's the other one I don't have a copy of, Led Zeppelin 2. I've got it all backwards. Led Zeppelin 2. The reason why I put Led Zeppelin 2 there, it's very similar in a lot of ways to the first album. The reason why I put Led Zeppelin 1 above it is mostly because of the track Dazed and Confused. I think is a great track, one of Led Zeppelin's best in my opinion. And but Led Zeppelin 2 has Whole Lotta Love, which is overplayed again. And to me, that kind of makes it a little bit lesser than the first album, mainly because I think Whole Lotta Love is almost a copy of Dazed and Confused. It almost follows the same formula. I just think Dazed and Confused is so much of a better track, so that's what puts this one at number 4 and the other one at number 5. Just want to make sure I got the count right. Number 3 is Led Zeppelin 3. Absolutely love this album. I love both the acoustic and the hard elements in this album. I think it was nice to kind of break up the sound from Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 with this one. Tangerine is one of my favorite tracks from Led Zeppelin. It's on this. There's a lot of the great acoustic elements as far as ingenuity and everything. This has got it. One of my favorite albums, and comes in at number 3. So I know you're probably knowing about which ones are which now. Number 2 would be Houses of the Holy. The only thing that keeps this one from being number 1 is the track The Crunge, which was actually, now that I know this, it gives it a little more sense, but that particular track is a take on James Brown, kind of an imitation of his style of music. They wanted to do that funky sound, and at the same time it was kind of not really a joke song, I guess, but one that was supposed to be somewhat funny in a way. To me, I don't like Robert Plant's vocals on it. They're kind of grating. Other than that, just a great album all the way around. The Rain song is great. Song Remains the Same is great. Um, the Ocean, Moby Dick, I even love that one. And I'm not a big fan of drum solos, but I love that drum solo. There's so much character to it that you don't see in a lot of drum solos. So number two, and that leaves, of course, the double album, Physical Graffiti. My favorite album from Led Zeppelin, and just everything about this. Some people say it's a little too long. I disagree. I think it's just the right size, if you want to know the truth. I love the double album aspect of it. The first album kind of recreates a lot of the older successes in the music, and just has the great classics like In My Time of Dying and Kashmir. The second album, I think, is just as great and shows a little more of a experimental, I guess, for lack of a better term, side of Led Zeppelin. And I don't know, a lot of people don't like Boogie with Stu. Again, I think it fits in there just perfectly. Of course, it's not my favorite track on the album, but I think it's still fun to have it there. And, you know, In the Light is great. Trying to think of some of the other tracks. Anyway, love this album. I think it maybe ends just a titch weak, but not that bad. Not bad enough to hate it, and it still makes it number one for me. So there you go. And if you haven't signed up to Steve's channel, All the World's a Stage, I tell you, go over there and sign up. He's got some great stuff. He posts quite often. The subs is the contest is to celebrate that he's got 500 subs. I think he's well above that by now. The other part of the Led Zeppelin contest was supposed to also entail finding a way to make Led Zeppelin and the number 500 linked together, and hopefully this will work. A lot of people use different kinds of figures and math and everything to reach the 500. For me, I found out that on January 3rd of 2008, Stairway to Heaven was the number one song on the list of 500 greatest songs that was voted on Q107 from New York City. So number one of the top 500 songs in the year 2008, and you know, is often number one on a lot of these kind of lists. So hopefully that works for the second part of the contest, and if not, that's fine. Thank you for watching, and we will talk to you all later.